Hi, my name is Josh Miller. I'm a senior at Bloomsburg University majoring in political science. This presentation is on America's involvement in the ongoing Syrian civil war. To understand why this war started, a little history is needed. President Bashar al-Assad became president of Syria after his father's death in July of 2000. The Assad regime has been ongoing since 1970 and is an autocracy. If you think of a civil war as a bonfire, there are multiple layers that are required to set it off. From 2006 to 2011, an extreme drought affected 60% of the population, and over 800,000 people lost their livelihoods by 2009. These further impoverished people fled to the cities, creating overpopulation problems and poorer quality of life for all. The Syrian government was known for its oppression of civil liberties and allowed little criticism of the regime. Torture and unjust jailings were common practice for the government. All of these ingredients piled together to create a very volatile situation. The spark that started the Civil War was the killing of peaceful demonstrators protesting the jailing of a group of boys for vandalizing public property. Instead of quashing the dissidents, the entire nation erupted into revolution. There are three sides to this conflict, and each side has different external actors supporting them. The Syrian government is backed by Russia, Iran, and China. They have been accused on the international stage of using chemical weapons on their own citizens, as well as numerous human rights violations. The rebels are supported by the US, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey. They are divided into over 100 brigades, which are mostly regional militia. These brigades all have different goals and methods of achieving them, and lack central leadership. ISIS came up from Iraq and decided to side with the rebels. They didn't work together for long, as ISIS was too radical for most of the rebels. There were videos of ISIS leaders eating the hearts of a soldier he just killed and shooting unarmed and tied up prisoners. While ISIS was extreme, they were effective. They took control of major cities such as Raqqa and Aleppo. The people of Syria tended to accept ISIS and go back to the Assad regime, and Assad used this to claim the moral high ground, claiming he cannot allow such ruthless people to rule the land. Different opinions and goals led the rebels to fight amongst themselves, causing major internal casualties, crippling an already small force. America's involvement in this war began in 2013 when the CIA began training moderate rebels to fight more efficiently, as well as supply them. We have a small force of 1,000 troops on the ground, working together with rebel forces. In 2016 alone, the US bombed ISIS and Syrian government targets over 12,000 times. Russia's involvement in this makes this whole thing look like a Cold War-era proxy war, where neither side wants to strike the other side, but will do everything else outside of direct confrontation. In April, Trump ordered a missile strike on a Syrian government airstrip, firing 59 Tomahawk missiles at the base, saying that the base was used to release nerve gas on the population. This would be the second time that the Syrian government has been accused of using chemical weapons on its own population. But Syria and Russia have both denied such accusations, saying that both times they were an accident. While ISIS was leading on the battlefield, they have lost a lot of ground in the past couple months, and they're currently being driven out of the country by the Kurds and the rebels and the Syrian government. They were controlling Raqqa and Aleppo. They've both been taken over by the opposition. The rebels and the Kurds control most of the north, as well as a few pockets scattered across the country, near major cities such as Damascus and Aleppo. The Syrian government controls most of the south, as well as the city that was once controlled by ISIS, Aleppo, and Damascus. The stalemate that the two remaining sides are in may not change anytime soon, and this battle could continue for many more years.